Hello and welcome to Dagestan. Today, we delve into a complex historical narrative that has shaped the geopolitical landscape for more than a century. We're discussing the Palestinian perspective on the Israel-Palestine conflict, drawing heavily from Rashid Khalidi's seminal work, The 100 Years' War on Palestine. This timely text chronicles Palestinian history from the perspective of Palestinians. Rashid Khalidi is a Palestinian-American historian, the Edward Said Professor of Modern Arab Studies at Columbia University, and the editor of the Journal of Palestine Studies. Palestine, then a part of the Ottoman Empire, was primarily inhabited by Arab Muslims, with pockets of Jewish and Christian communities. Enter British rule and the Balfour Declaration, which endorsed the creation of a Jewish national home in Palestine. Suddenly, the once peaceful region was thrust into the throes of displacement and dissent. Nakba or Catastrophe. Under the auspices of the United Nations, Palestine was partitioned into Jewish and Arab states in 1947. But the aftermath was far from peaceful. The Arab community faced violent displacement from their homes in a series of events now known as the Nakba or Catastrophe. And, just like that, the Zionist movement attained the backing of the world's largest colonial empire. In 1922, the League of Nations issued a mandate for Palestine. Over the course of 28 articles, this document laid the groundwork for Jewish self-governance. By the late 1920s, the Jewish population of Palestine had risen to nearly 20%, and tensions had risen as well. In 1937, the British attempted to quell tensions by partitioning the area. The Peel Commission declared that 17% of the region would be reserved for a Jewish state. The plan pushed Palestinians into open revolt. Over the next 2 years, the British violently suppressed Arab uprisings, ultimately killing, wounding 10% of adult males in the county. World War II changed the Middle East politics. The British stayed close to new Arab states like Egypt and Jordan, but the US and the USSR also became influential. This hurt the Palestinian cause, as both superpowers supported Zionism after the Holocaust. The UN split Palestine into 2 states in 1947, with US and USSR support. The Jewish state got more land. But this failed. In 1948, Zionists attacked and expelled many Arabs. In 1948, Zionist militias initiated Plan Dalet, a campaign to expel Arabs from Jaffa, Haifa, and other areas. The Zionists used superior force and displaced thousands of Arab families. When the dust settled in 1949, the region was transformed. On May 15, 1948, Israel declared itself a state. The new polity controlled 80% of the former Palestinian mandate. More than 700,000 Palestinians were forced off their land and became refugees. Meanwhile, 160,000 Palestinian Arabs remained inside Israel, where they faced an uncertain future. Six-Day War. Fast forward to 1967. The brief yet impactful Six-Day War solidified Israeli dominance and triggered a resurgence in the Palestinian resistance. International powers, especially the US, played significant roles in shaping the aftermath, often marginalizing the Palestinian perspective. Israel wasn't threatened by the Six-Day War. While outnumbered on paper, Israel dominated its enemies in military might and preparedness. The United States explicitly backed it. When United States endorsed Israel's actions, the two nations become strong allies. In the meantime, the UN's response further entrenched Israeli control. UN Resolution 242 also ignores Palestine. Interestingly, the treaty only addresses relations between Israel and the nations it fought, an omission that implicitly erases Palestinians as a people. In the 1960s and 1970s, exiled writers such as Emil Habibi and Ghassan Kanafani explored Palestinian identity in novels and short stories. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, or PLO, advocated openly for Palestinian recognition and resistance under the banner of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Lebanon War. The early 1980s witnessed another surge in turmoil with the Lebanon War. Intended as a crushing blow to the Palestinian Liberation Organization, or PLO, the war instead galvanized the Palestinian movement, setting the stage for further resistance. First Intifada. The late 1980s witnessed the first Intifada, a grassroots uprising propelled by decades of accumulated frustration. While the Intifada coerced Israel into negotiations, the resulting Oslo Accords proved rather ill-conceived, further contesting the path to Palestinian sovereignty. Under the Oslo Accords terms, the PLO re-entered the territories and oversaw a paltry self-government, the Palestinian Authority. In exchange, the PLO officially recognized Israel as a state and allowed it to retain sovereignty over security, residency, and settlement building. PLO leader Yasser Arafat celebrated the accords as a path to statehood, but they proved poisonous. Rise of Hammas. In the wake of disappointing peace talks, militant group Hammas rose to prominence, advocating for a return to armed resistance. The group's ascent was catalyzed in part by continued Israeli oppression and the failing promises of the PLO. Discussing the uncertain future, today, Palestine continues to grapple with an uncertain future amidst continued Israeli settlement expansion and diplomatic roadblocks. However, peace and justice are not beyond reach. It's a challenging journey, but the endurance of the Palestinian spirit remains steadfast. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Palestine-Israel conflict from the Palestinian perspective. Remember, understanding is the first step toward resolution. Until next time, stay curious and engaged here on Dagestan. Without hope we are lost.